Hello, people. How are we on this lovely Tuesday night? My boy Chase and I are live here at the cocktail hour. Chase, how you doing, my man?
Man, I'm here. I'm excited. I was bummed we had to miss last week, but we're back at it, dude. It's good to be back in the lounge, the bar, the pub.
Now, I'm a little disappointed in myself. I have like 15 million weddings to go to this summer. In reality, it's
Yeah.
3, but it feels like 15 million.
Once you get past like the age of 25, 3 might as well be 15 million.
And I just I work out a lot, but I drink and eat a lot, so I'm going no bread for the whole month of March. No bread, no carbs.
Whoa, that's a
You know?
commitment, my man. That's I don't think that includes pasta too, doesn't it? Because that's
Yeah.
just like
Today I
like
had
bread.
blueberries, chicken, and broccoli.
Eating real clean then. You got
Yeah.
like a special suit you're squeezing into? You get something from Indochino maybe?
Well, one of them I'm the best man. The other
Gotcha.
one, it's me and all these guys that used to play in the NBA. Another one's a high school college buddy. So
Yeah.
like I just got to bring the A game, dude. Got to bring the A game. So
I know you're not in the wedding party or it sounded like you're not in the wedding party for the NBA one,
actually,
which makes
what I am.
That's amazing because people are going to be like, whose agent are you?
And the funny thing is like I Googled everyone in the wedding party's net worth because I just want to kind of know like what I'm in for the bachelor party. Yeah. The lowest guy, guess how much is the net worth was?
10 mil.
25.
Fuck.
I know, dude. Like I'm gonna be calling up that what is her name? Inventing Anna from Netflix. And she's gonna have to be giving me lessons like how to swindle banks so I can roll with these guys.
Right. Listen, if those collector's coins that I bought late night off the infomercial ever like fully mature into value, I'm going to be right there with them. I mean, it's only a matter of time. Everyone wants a Buffalo nickel with R2-D2 on it.
Hey, I would take one gladly.
Absolutely. You would.
So the floor is yours, man. Let's pop some champagne. Let's crush Beho's dreams. Because your Razorbacks laid it down. I mean, this is okay. Right now, we talked about it. They switched the starting lineup. Mm-hmm. You guys are playing balls to the wall, insane ball right now.
Yeah.
What's the ceiling for this team?
I honestly, I after going to the Elite 8 last year, and I feel like we have much better scoring threats this year. And then also, because, last year, Jalen Williams was a freshman. He was great rebounding. He was a great distributor from the post. He's stepped up.
Uh-oh. I think my boy's frozen, dude. Did it happen again? Chase, my man. I think I lost you, bro.
Am I back?
You're back, man. You're back.
Okay.
You're back.
But, okay, so JD Note could give you 40 on any given night. Jalen Williams has emerged. Then you also have, great people coming off the bench. The defense is there. If you look at what we are doing for opponents' shooting percentages from 3-point and also from the field, that's a prescription for a recipe for a disastrous deep run, baby. I think this is a Final Four team, if not on the cusp of being like a championship worthy being talked about as a team that could win it all.
And I'll tell you what, I actually had them last year to win it all. And you guys, cut it to 4-2 against Baylor and then decide to score for not 7 minutes, for like 7 minutes, just not being able to get it in.
Yeah. I had never been so pissed off to see Homer Drew over and over again as when we were losing that game. And I was like, he looks so nice, but fuck that old man. Yeah, no, it's I think we got a good chance. Depending on what kind of draw we get. I honestly, I think we could. I've seen us sitting at about a 5 seed right now. I think we could honestly be like a 3 or 4 seed if we blow through the SEC tournament and actually win the thing. 2 seed probably.
I read this thing, like according to like net, since you guys started this run, you're like the 3rd best team according to like net ranking. I mean, you guys are playing insane ball right now.
Yeah, it's nice to see. I mean, I had thought maybe this just wasn't the year. Whenever we went through we have a January slump. It doesn't matter who the players are. It doesn't even matter who the coaching staff is. It seems like every year after we come out of non-conference, we hit the SEC tournament, the SEC play, and we just slump hard. Like,
yeah,
you go and then you just like drop the first 3 SEC games, and then they put it together. I don't know. It's weird. But I mean, we're peaking at the right time. I just hope that we don't like peak and then fizzle late, because we've played some tough ball games as of late,
And you guys really haven't had that like letdown spot,
right?
Excuse me, you haven't really had that, shit the bed spot. I'm just saying maybe you should bet LSU tomorrow, because that would probably be a good little spot to have it, So
if it wasn't senior night, I would say I would agree.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, you guys got Williams, the big guy, who you've been on since the beginning. Props to you, playing inspired ball.
Yeah.
Norte, I mean, like, that dude is like, I was thinking about, he's kind of like a Kyle Lowry type guy, just a pit bull. He will literally like pour gasoline on himself and run through a fire to get a win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just a pit bull of a point guard.
And he can, I mean, he's a hell of a scorer, but I think what he really showed against Kentucky was how well he passes. Like when he starts drawing that attention. Last year we had like Moses Moody, who honestly for a couple of games in the NCAA tournament just went MIA. And I don't think you're going to get that from JD Note. Like that's good. I think the difference maker.
Yeah. I mean, God, that guy was like, I had so high aspirations for that guy in the tournament last year.
Yeah.
What's their floor? I mean, could you see them? Because I mean, I'm a Michigan State guy. I know we're gonna lose first round to Missouri State, or we're gonna make it to the Elite Eight. I know there's no like middle ground for us. Like, what do you think Arkansas's floor is?
Listen, I mean, UMBC versus Virginia taught us that anybody is beatable in the first round. There is no first round lock anymore. I think there's more parity in college basketball than there's probably ever been right now. I think a lot of it has to do with just, I mean, high school athletics has just gotten better. These kids know more, they get better coaching. They know how to take care of their bodies better than previous generations. So, I mean, the floor, quite honestly, would be a loss in the first round. Cause I can't say that it couldn't happen, because I've seen the impossible happen before, at this point. So that would absolutely be the floor. I gotta say one thing though, to Mr. Ken and his Pomeranian or whoever he is, Mr. Ken Pom. I said 4 of 6 going into the stretch of the last 6 games. I said we were going to win 4 of 6. I was told by certain hosts of Cutting Nets 1 of 6. Ken Pom says we're going to win 1 of 6. Son of a bitch, we won 5 of 6, and the one we lost was by 1 point. So suck it, Ken. Suck it. You're Pomeranian.
I hate Ken Pom. Because it doesn't take injuries into an account. And you look at it, it takes a team like it's right here in my hometown, Loyola Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
They beat Evansville by 30. They go up like 15 spots in Ken Pom. Like I said, if you're gonna bet college basketball or NBA basketball, I really feel like shot quality, that's the best site to be using. Like a way more for what I'm looking for. I like more than Ken Pom, because it doesn't keep injuries into account. So I'm just not a big fan of it.
What I've started doing is I've got a site that I go to for my statistics. I couldn't even tell you what it is off the top of my head.
Brazers.com?
No, it is. I mean, it's some basic.
Oh, I named a porn site, dude. I was trying to be funny.
Oh, okay. I'm with you.
Really went over your head.
It's just teamrankings.com. And so what I do is I quite literally I look at how they stack up in points per game, how they stack up in field goal shooting. And then from there, like I'll go and say, okay, how do they stack up in, defending, from the field, defending from 3-point. And like, if it's even, then I'll break it even further down. And I'll say, okay, might not be the shooting. It might be like assist to turnover. If they're even there, I'll even go back into, all right, so they don't turn it over. They both shoot fairly well. So maybe it comes down to rebounds at that point. And I just keep trying to find like that one critical stat that gives me the green light to fire.
And just not. I got you. I got you.
It's like horse racing. There is no holistic number. It doesn't exist.
What I didn't know you had a tat. What arm tat you rocking there, big guy?
Let's see. So I should preface this by saying my grandpa went to Alabama for 8 years.
Okay.
He you would think he was a doctor. No, he majored in Sigma Chi. Sold auto parts. But yeah, he was like, if you had to pick two words to describe him, it was Alabama fan. Like he had a crimson A like on his coffin. Like this dude was like, we were raised to revere the bear. Like everyone just shut the fuck up anytime Bama was on TV. And yeah, man, whenever he passed away, he had pretty bad Alzheimer's. Elephant never forgets. I have his hat that looks like that, kind of the Bear Bryant hat. And so he used to smoke big old cigars on his road trips whenever he was making calls on customers. So I got that.
All right. Now the big talk in the NBA, we have a couple NBA talking points. The first one, what's going on with Gino's Lakers, man? Like, team is like, we knew it was going to be bad, but it's almost to the point where it's this bad. You know what I mean? You have Jeannie Buss leaving during the mid game. You have players fighting, yelling at people in the, I'm going to call it the Staples Center. I'm not going to call it the Bitcoin Crypto Center. Still the Staples Center to me.
That's fair.
You know what the hell's going on there, dude?
So here's my theory is that it is non-sustainable for a franchise to have LeBron James as their star, especially when you have one that's as injury prone that you're paying as much as AD. And they thought they could get around it by pulling in a bunch of, hey man, some of these guys are Hall of Famers. Like they're really good players, like Melo, Westbrook, and then fill it in with like role players that they're, paying with bus passes and like a box of envelopes. And I just think he's getting older. A team has to invest more around him, which means he's going to have to take a pay cut. And how do you ask LeBron James to take a fucking pay cut?
You can't. And I heard an interesting comment, and it was the guy I was talking to said the difference between Chris Paul and LeBron James is Chris Paul lets Monte Williams coach. LeBron James doesn't let Frank Vogel coach.
Yeah, I mean, Tyronn Lue, Erik Spoelstra. I wish Spoelstra turned out to be a fairly good coach, but like Spoelstra, anybody that he's had in the Lakers, he's coaching those teams. And like, I know MJ, he had that kind of, just from The Last Dance, he had that like reputation of being like that guy. But Phil Jackson was still running that team and coaching. Like he was he was still like managing people, but he also had like an offense. It wasn't just like
that he was running. Yeah.
Like, maybe that's what they need, the triangle offense.
I mean, I think it's tough just because like LeBron, I mean, don't get me, he smartest basketball mind ever. He knows this stuff, but let's face it, like as soon as this Westbrook thing went down, there was not one person saying, oh, hey, this makes sense. Oh, hey, this is going to work. You know what I mean? Like, you got to let somebody be in charge, make up the team, and that, the Lakers, and I'll say it, if the Lakers weren't in Los Angeles, he wouldn't have gone there. He just went to LA because that's the best place for him to market himself. He put his kid in a good basketball program, which is fine. It's fine doing all that stuff. But the Lakers are it's a ma and pa franchise, the Buses running it. There's no real structure. They're just a disaster.
Yeah, I mean, it's all basically like if you're affiliated with the Showtime Lakers or the Kobe and Shaq Lakers, like Pelinka was, then like it's like you're in. It's a very like incestuous kind of setup that they have in terms of how they, maybe you need someone else in the front office to bring one in and make the hard decisions. Like I was shocked that they didn't do anything during the trade deadline. I figured Russ was gone at the very least. You could probably get a lot from Malik Monk, even though that would hamstring that team.
But I mean, like, I don't know. The team has just so many needs, though. You know what I mean? It's like, you look at it from top to bottom. Net ranking. This is what really blew my mind. I forgot what it was. Like, it was like the net ranking with AD and LeBron on the floor this year is worse when they were off the floor last year.
There's no time to get any sort of chemistry together because one of them's always injured. So, all right, if you were a betting man, the goal is LeBron wants to play with Bronny 1 year and then retire. Yeah. If you were a betting man, what would you say the odds are that he actually gets to that point?
You know what? When I talked to Gino, I said this is going to happen, and I gave my prediction for the team. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
The Minnesota Timberwolves.
They'll take anybody.
Well, who's their part owner? Alex Rodriguez, ex-player Ty. I really think A-Rod being there, that's something that could materialize.
You think he wants to maybe have it set up to where he can just like retire into like part ownership of the team sort of thing?
Yeah.
I could see that. That makes sense. I get that.
Go there, bring him in, plays with Bronny 1 year, retires. A-Rod gives him a piece of the team.
Here's my take on it, and that is that he won't last that long. And the reason is, unlike Michael Jordan, he hasn't had just like, I mean, when Jordan came back and played for like the Wizards, he'd had like a year off for baseball. He'd had time off from the Bulls. Like, it wasn't like he, just powered through all those years straight. Like, maybe that's the secret. Maybe he needs to like take up ping pong for a year or something,
Take up curling.
Oh, hell yeah.
Can you imagine LeBron on the curling board, on the curling sheet? I mean, that'd be a sight, man. Yeah, I just don't know, like, because they're reeling right now. They play the Mavericks tonight. Some of us may be invested in the Lakers plus 5.5. Just saying. I don't know if like when they gets to playoff time, are these guys just going to mail it in, or are they going to like actually compete and say, hey, you know what? Let's get this and let's roll up our sleeves. Let me beat my friend Chris Paul. I don't know what they're going to do, and it's kind of like a weird time for a Laker fan. And then the uncertainty, they traded away a lot of picks. Tucker Horton not being what he was supposed to be. Lakers. It's a hard time being a Laker fan. I feel for you, Gino.
Yeah.
I feel for you.
It's rough.
Now, you may not know this. I live in the northern boroughs of Chicago. I'm a hoops head. I actually have season tickets to the Bucks. So Pistons are 1, Bucks are 2. I've been going up to Bucks games since the Brandon Jennings days. That's how long I've been here in this area. And did you hear Charles Oakley? Like, he gave Giannis all like props, and then he goes, he would be a bench player in my era.
Charles Oakley is just so good at having terrible takes, it seems like. No, he wouldn't. Just flat out no, he would not, is all I can say to that.
I mean, this is my take. Like, I hate it like when these old-time players, I don't want to use old-time players, like go, he wouldn't make it in my era. Well, all these great players are great because they're able to adapt and work hard. And him being able to, Giannis would adapt. He played down low. He developed a turnaround, a post game, something. So I don't know. I always hate it when people say that. He wouldn't do it in my era. Well, dude, he's a great player with an insane work ethic. He'd figure it out and he'd get it done.
I think he would be even better in Oakley's era. And the reason is that there's not the focus on the 3-point shot. Like, he literally could just play in the post and be an absolute freak with that wingspan and everything. Yeah, I don't know what Oakley was thinking at all.
He could be Shaq S, if you could.
Shaq. Yeah.
Shaq
yeah.
S. You know what I mean?
A little weight on.
It down there.
Give him the boom boom booty. Yeah,
I
man.
mean, like it just I don't know. And like then you got Isaiah Thomas, who I really think Isaiah Thomas is trying to get into like coaching or a front office. Because like anytime they ask him about like a modern day player, he always gives them props. Like
Right.
he always like mentions how good they were and everything like that, you know. And I really think he's just trying to like, you know, like endear himself to those type of players. One guy that's having an insane season who like can we just appreciate this guy for a little bit for what he's doing is Ja Morant. Did you see those highlights last night? He probably had the dunk of the year and the shot, the buzzer beater of the year in the same half.
Dude, amazing. Absolutely amazing. He's hands down my favorite player to watch in the NBA right now. It seems like he does a little bit of everything. Like I love that he comes from like a small school playing in a small market, like and also just seems to be relishing playing in a small market in Memphis, which dude, that's like 2 hours away. I got to go and see that live. You know what I mean?
Oh, dude, you've never been to the game in the grindhouse before?
I have not.
I like you ready to be really jealous, man? I was there one of the God, I forget what year. It was a couple, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 6, when they played the Warriors. That was the team with Conley, my boy Zebo, Gasol, Tony Allen. You know that place is a great place to watch a game. Like
see, but
great place.
The problem is it's surrounded by Memphis, and Memphis is a fantastic place to lose yo life.
Mm-hmm.
Bad things happen in Memphis, always have. No, it's amazing. So I'm gonna draw a comparison here. I don't know how far like off base I am. Derrick Rose before the knee injuries. Derrick Rose had that sort of he could explode, you know, like he could get up there. He has some of the same skill set. He's not as good of a scorer, but it's the same kind of explosiveness to me. Derrick Rose before the knee injuries, like rookie season in Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, you explosive, dunker. When they would take it to the hole, both of them would jump off 2 feet. I think Morant has a better jump shot though, because that was the one thing about Rose back then is his jumper wasn't that good. I think Morant's jump shot is a little bit better. I think Rose was a better facilitator.
Yeah.
I mean, what is he shooting, like 50% right now?
I looked it up. He's shooting 49.8% right now from the field. He's increased his 3-point percentage like 2 points over his career, which doesn't sound like a lot, but over the long run of a season, that's a few more extra buckets, you know? Like it just seems like he works on everything.
And it's kind of like and it's kind of like he takes it like, hey, like you mentioned, you know, he was overlooked, you know, while being recruited to Murray State. They're actually going to look at somebody else, and then he comes there. Then they saw him. He goes to Murray State and just materializes to this like phenomenal player. Yeah. And he goes to small market Memphis, you know, the smallest market in the NBA. But it's not, you know, you're good, obviously, if you play in the NBA, but like you look at who's around him, man. You know what I mean? Like you have former Spartan Josh Jackson, but everyone else is like a later pick, you know, Steven Adams. It's not like he has this absorbent amount of talent around him with what he's doing. And he's in Memphis. The NBA does this whole thing, small markets don't care. But yet Memphis is never on TV. You know what I mean? It's like,
right.
You know, and I get it. Like you thought the Lakers are going to be big. You thought, you know, the Nets were going to have the big three of Harden, Irving, and Durant. But next year, I'm going to be a little pissed off if Memphis isn't on a Christmas Day game. You know,
right. I mean, that's who you want to see. Like, I mean, say this LeBron Lakers team is somewhat intact next year for Christmas. I don't give a shit about that. I don't want to watch that over turkey and ham and presents.
Oh yeah. Oh. I mean, I would, yeah. Like, why would you want to see that? Like, we've been there, we've done that. AD will probably get hurt 13 minutes into the game. You know, so
right.
I don't know. Like, I just for the NBA to say all this stuff, small market doesn't matter. Now's the time to show me. Give Memphis a Christmas Day game. Show me it doesn't matter. And I'll say it right now, like I think he's like at 10-1 for MVP. He'd be worth throwing a little money on because Joel Embiid, this is the most games he's ever played. He's
right.
He could get hurt. Jokic is just a beast, but if Denver really doesn't piece it together, and they just kind of fizzle and they're like fifth, sixth, they're not going to get anything.
Right.
And I really feel with Milwaukee, they just want to get in the playoffs healthy. They're going to be resting Giannis, resting Middleton, resting Holiday. I really feel like them winning Giannis the MVP really isn't a priority right now. So I think there's some definite value on Morant, especially with Paul being out, Green being out for the Warriors. I think there's some chance for Memphis to move in the 2 seed. If Morant does good, he could definitely win the MVP.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what gets you that game. That actually gets you your like Christmas Day game. Like it took Giannis being like a transcendent player for like Milwaukee to start getting that. Like I'm hoping that if he just keeps balling out and doing what he does, if he's done with his rookie contract and he's set on staying in Memphis, that like in a couple of years, then like Memphis might be basketball central, which is great. Memphis has always been a great basketball town. And they've always produced a ton of talent.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. And also 3-6 Mafia, man. Don't hand 3-6 Mafia, dude. Like
nor Project Pat either.
I don't mean to drift our conversation, but did you ever watch that reality TV show at MTV?
I did. So I did not. I will say I have seen 3-6 Mafia live in concert. I've also a guy I used to work with when I was like 22 at some just like menial job. Briefly had the job of being their like in-house like sound engineer. And he said it was absolutely insane. He lasted a couple months. He's like, I can't do it.
I mean, I can only imagine. Like, I think it was, for space of the guy's name, it wasn't Juicy J or
DJ Paul.
J Paul. But it wasn't Project Pat.
Crunchy Black?
What?
Was it Crunchy Black?
I'm not sure. I'll have to, I don't know. I think it was one of the security guys, and they were like going around like trying to get flyers, and he got lost, and he ended up taking a piss on Jennifer Love Hewitt's yard, and Hewitt got him kicked out of the subdivision or whatever it was, and they had to move someplace else, all because that dude took a piss.
Listen, Crunchy Black had one of the most transcendent rap lyrics of all time, which is "She got hot like in a kitchen." Wow, just
dropping it,
mind blowing. God, I mean, Tupac, he took notice from Cuba when he heard that one.
God, and there's one other scene. God, who did Jay Cutler end up marrying and they got divorced? The girl from the beach.
Kristen Cavallari, I think.
Yeah,
was her name.
UCJ and her went on a date. And that was like some riveting stuff right there. I mean, Adventures in Hollywood. That was the name of the show.
That's right.
That's
right.
You want to talk about a gem. I mean, so after we're done.
I love 3-6 Mafia so much.
Oh my God, dude. Yeah. I'm a fan. So now the big thing is they made the announcement today. The MLB is going to cancel the first 2 series of the year. Do you think MLB is going to play this year?
Honestly, I'm almost at the point where I don't care. But so here's the deal. I think they will, and I think they'll do one of these like stupid abbreviated seasons where like they have to like they mess with the rules and everything like they did with the COVID year. But I don't think it will be as short. Like, and I'll be honest, like if that happens, like I've diehard Cardinals fan. Like me and my dad used to go to Cardinals road games. Like that's what we did, during the summers was we watched the Cardinals. And I don't know if they'll ever get me back if they have like an extended lockout or like a full on strike. Like I'm done with it. Like I don't think it's on the players. Like I think a lot of it is honestly on ownership. Like you can't tell me that you're fucking poor whenever you're charging like $50 for parking and 75 for a hot dog and a beer and a pretzel or something.
Jeez, like this is my thing. Let's rewind to the COVID era. You have NFL talking about, player safety with the COVID. You have NBA talking about the player safety with COVID. You have MLB and the players talking about revenue distribution.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's all about, like that's what it's about with that. Like they didn't care about the COVID. It was all just bottom line money. And,
right.
It's just, I actually wrote a blog piece for my website a couple years ago when that was going on. And I said baseball was a dying sport. I think like you look at it, I go up to a Brewers game. I see people coming over for the casino because the casino's right there.
Yep.
They allow you to tailgate. So people like in their 20s, and up, like that are drunk, boozing, and some of Milwaukee's finest eye candy. That's what I see there. I never see any young kids,
No.
and like that's what you have to do to get, the sport living. You have to get the young kids there. And there's when I go to a game, I don't see the amount of young kids there that I used to do it when you and I were younger. And we would be going, like, I would go to Tiger games, you would go to Cardinals games. I don't see those kids there. So I think the sport's dying. And you mentioned it before. Before you took your kid to soccer practice, not baseball, soccer. My nephew plays soccer, so I don't know, man. I think baseball is like going down that path and is going to be dead in 15, 17 years.
I don't think the kids these days have the attention span to watch a baseball game. There's too many more stimulating things out there.
Yeah.
Baseball is so slow to adapt, to change anything. And I'm honestly, when it comes to baseball though, I'm a baseball purist is my quandary. Like I hate the DH. I hate, I want small ball. I want people stealing bases. I want people laying down bunts. Like I like that. I like the strategy behind it. That and when it turns into like no DH, like just gorilla ball, like let's just put, get people, have a couple plays, place setters and then have a couple people who can just mash it out of the park, a lot of the time or strike out. Like, hitting for average is a lost art. And then like, I don't know. Maybe something needs to happen with the pitching too. Like the pitching is just not unfair. It's all either strikeouts or, like
it's I don't want to use the term boring, but like, you know what I mean? Like it needs to do something to like liven the sport up, make the game quicker. Just get something going there. And then, last Tuesday, it was your time to shine, man. We had the USFL draft. I mean, you and XFL Jim, like, what was it? 5 hours, 52 minutes or something like that.
Yeah. And then I, the next day was dropped in for a couple hours too, for the later rounds, like, because it was a 2-day draft. Fun draft. I think they did the structure of the draft well. I think as like a league publicity wise, Matt might have dropped the ball a little bit.
Now,
there.
What was the structure?
So for one, modified snake draft. So each team eventually had a chance to pick first in a round. But what they did was each round was dedicated to certain position groups. So like round 1 was quarterbacks. Round 2 was like rounds like 2 through 5 were like offensive tackles. Like the next rounds were like DBs, and so they split it out like that. And so I felt like it gave them a really good chance to have a lot of parity in the league because, for one, every team got a chance to pick first at some point. And two, it wasn't like people were just like snatching up the very best players that are out there. They had to actually build their teams out,
Yeah,
So yeah.
I mean that's a great I like that a lot. It'll be interesting to see if the XFL follows that. And like honestly, like I like that a lot for the teams that are starting out and everything.
Yeah.
Now
And every fantasy football player got to have their own it was like their own wet dream moment of like I could do this. I could be a GM. I snake draft.
Now looking at these teams and everything, is there any team you're like, oh shit, I actually like how they constructed, this team? Because if that's the case, maybe we could try to find a future on them.
Yeah. So this is a little bit me being a big disgusting homer, a little bit me also thinking this team had a really good draft was the New Orleans Breakers. I love their pick at quarterback, especially to go with their head coach. They got Larry Fedora, who coached your boy, the Truth, Trubisky, in college. And they picked up Kyle Slaughter from, I think it was Northern Colorado, who was just an absolute stud athletically. Like the dude threw for ran for 3,000 yards in college. He caught 14 passes his senior year. Like he's a hell of a talent. And then also they picked up, they had a DB that I was really high on that they picked up out of Ole Miss in the DB rounds from that vaunted land shark defense of a few years ago, who has some versatility because he came in and played wide receiver at Ole Miss and switched positions. And with how small the rosters are, which off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you how many players it is, but it's a very small compared to a NFL roster. I feel like there needs to be a lot of versatility to it. This Ben Holmes kid that the Generals drafted, coming out of Tarleton, watch out. That kid's going to be a stud, absolute stud. But yeah, I thought the Breakers had a good draft. I thought Jeff Fisher and the Panthers had a good draft. And Houston, the Gamblers and someone had a great draft too.
I mean, this is my thing. I said on here, I adopted them. I'm loyal to my Michigan roots. I just hate Shea Patterson, man. I'm just not. At the end of the day, I'm just not a Shea Patterson guy. Do you think that was the right choice with them having the top pick overall?
I'm not sure because they.
Uh-oh. I think we've lost Chase again. And I was really looking forward to this because Shea played for Michigan. And I'm a Michigan State guy. Oh, he's back. I was going to give my breakdown to Shea Patterson, but go ahead.
So they took Paxton Lynch with their last pick in the draft.
They did.
Yeah, so okay. I think you might actually have a quarterback competition going into it. And then it's Jeff Fisher. They're going to run the ball. Let's not kid ourselves.
Run the ball, power eye, halfback dive.
Yeah.
Just run power.
Yeah, just Todd Gurley, ISO up the middle, that sort of thing.
I mean, just print out the Madden playbook for the Ram 80 when he coached the 20. When was that?
He took the. I think you might get Eddie George 2000 Titans playbook. Honestly, he took took some beefy Michigan Big Ten tackles and stuff that they all have pro experience, of course, but yeah, man, I think he is going to be the one team that that actually runs the ball. I think everyone else is going to be slinging it.
It's so funny. I can hear your dog barking, and my dog constantly is running into the room, peeking his head around and then sprinting back. He's my dog is so anxious to play with somebody. My thing with Shea Patterson is I don't know. He got ran out of Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Came to Michigan, and I don't know. I would actually like Lynch better. You know, Lynch has started some NFL games. And I love the fact Lynch went back and he's like coaching kids, dude. Like, if you have a chance to get back to kids, teach them the game, teach them the ropes. I
Right.
know he's getting a little hate on social media, but you know, I like that a lot, my man. You know,
All
I
I,
like that.
my thing, I don't have any hate for Paxton Lynch. My big thing is like, hey, big hand for John Elway, who took a first round pick with Paxton Lynch, who gets picked is the last quarterback taken in the USFL draft.
So what you're saying is Elway's eye for quarterback talent isn't there.
Yeah. Apparently, I mean,
Just not there, man. So, you know, it didn't, and like they drafted Tebow too. It's just amazing, like how this guy who, you know, how many he's been like lost 2 Super Bowls, won 2 Super Bowls, how he just can't see like what is needed at the quarterback position. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's either like you can play, you can coach, or you can scout, and LA can obviously play. So
I think he's good if you like say, okay, here's a proven commodity. Is this person good? He'll be like, yeah. Like you did with Peyton Manning. I could see him do it with Aaron Rodgers this year too, you know, but like evaluating draft talent, oh man, how bad can you be for someone who played quarterback at the highest level, you know?
You mentioned Aaron Rodgers. I have my prediction where he's going to go. He should be making his announcement soon, within the next week. Where is your prediction where Rodgers is going to end up?
I kind of think he's a Bronco.
Really?
I don't think he'll end up in the NFC at all. Like
I think personally he's going to end up staying in Green Bay. I mean, you see all these moves that Green Bay is making, and I understand what you're saying with him going to Denver. But at the end of the day, if he goes to Denver, he's going to be competing with, like, I look at it, he's going to be competing with Herbert and Mahomes, and that's not really something you want to do.
That's a good point. That would be hard. It'd be funny if you just slid into Tampa Bay. It'd be real funny if you just slid into Tampa Bay.
I mean, like, I wrote it down on a piece of paper. Like, if you look at it, the AFC West, there's Herbert and Mahomes. You really don't want to go there, okay?
Right.
Because you'll constantly be the third team. You look at the AFC South, okay? You have the Texans, which are a train wreck. Jacksonville, who I think is going to be improved. You have the Colts, who need something over Wentz, and you have the Titans. So I would look to go there if I was him.
Yeah.
You look at the AFC North. Cleveland that's a little bit of a hot mess, you know, with Baker calling out Stefanski. Bengals, I'm sorry, Beho. I think they're going to take a step backwards. I think they overachieved last year. And you have the Ravens, which are a lot of injuries. Steelers are kind of interesting because they have some playmakers and they have a good defense.
Yeah.
Then you look at the AFC East. I don't think any team there, you know what I mean? Like the Pats and the Jets have young quarterbacks. Dolphins, maybe the Dolphins. You know, so you just go through the teams. Like Green Bay's in the best situation because the Bears, Lions, and Minnesota are all a wreck.
Right.
So
I honestly that would actually make sense. Like maybe the Giants would be a sneaky good place to land.
Yeah.
Like I think you would see a resurgent Saquon Barkley if that happened. Like, because what happened as soon as someone like they had we'll call Eli a decent at this point. Like as soon as they lost like a decent quarterback, that's when like they started putting everything on him, and that's when he fell apart. Like, if he can get healthy, and if they get a wide receiver threat, which I mean they've got some, they might actually have a ton of talent at wide receiver, but it's really hard to tell with Danny Dimes. So the Giants could fit.
Yeah, Giants would be interesting. You don't want to go, and then you don't want to go to the NFC West, NFC South. I mean, that place is wide open. I mean, right now, the best team, because they have their starting quarterback, is the Falcons in the AFC South, as crazy as it sounds. You know, the Saints, you don't know what's going on with them. You don't know what's going on with the Panthers. You don't know what's going on with the Buccaneers. Falcons are the team to be right now in the South, as crazy as it sounds. So, I mean, like if he could go to Tampa, like you suggested earlier, I think that would be a great place for him because they have the offensive line. I know the one guy just retired. They have the defense. They definitely have some pieces. So I definitely like the idea of him going there. So that's definitely a good possibility. So, I like that thought a lot.
Yeah. I the way my internet keeps cutting in and out, you would think that like my internet hub like ran through Ukraine or something. Like it's just absolutely ridiculous how many times I've cut out. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, dude.
Eric and
Now let me ask you this
people who
one
are
more thing
listening.
before we go. Do you think like the fighter pilot stories, the ghost of what's the name of the town?
The Ghost of Kiev.
Do you think that's real?
I hope so. I really
Dude,
want
I
it to
hope
be
so too.
true.
I really do. But like the more and more I just sit back and think about it, the more I'm like, you know what I mean? Like,
You need that sort of propaganda. I think if you're rallying like an entire nation to fight for you, what I think what's the thing that people are losing sight of is the fact that you have two Klitschko brothers armed with AK-47s like patrolling the streets of the Ukraine. Like I saw a pretty gnarly photo of Russian war dead where like the guy pretty much like didn't have anything left here, and I think what happened was Vitaly punched him.
Jeez. I saw the clip where the elderly lady went up to a Russian soldier
So ice cold. I love that. So
and
ice
like
cold.
gave her like, here, put these in your pockets so when you die, flowers will be born. Like,
Yeah.
dude, that's pretty OG,
Yeah.
man.
That is. And the dude, me and Jim talked about it last night. Apparently Ukrainians are just built different, man. They're fucking badass.
Dude, like did you there's that Seinfeld clip going around where a Newman and what's the guy's name? Kramer are playing like Risk on the subway.
Yep.
And like like Kramer makes some comment like, "Oh, what do you have? Just have a Ukrainian?" And like this Ukrainian guy's in the subway, he like slaps the board. He gets like, "What are you talking about, Ukrainian?" Blah blah blah. So
Ukraine not weak. Ukraine strong. Yeah, man. Yeah, dude. Yeah, man. I fucking keep fighting the good fight, Ukrainians. Like the world is pulling for you, and I.
hopefully, I mean, like hopefully, everything will kind of calm down and the Ukrainians can pull it off because everyone definitely is pulling for the Ukrainians. Well, guys, that is it for the cocktail hour. Thanks for tuning in. Every Tuesday around this time, 7:45 Central Standard Time, give or take. Chase and myself will be here. We'll kind of talk it through, tell you guys like what's going on with the sports world, give it all a couple bets, shoot the shit, tell some crazy stories. Like today, what do? We talked about 3-6 Mafia. So, Chase, you got anything to add? You there, buddy? You frozen? All right, man. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll be back here next week. Oh, you're back.
There we go.
You're back. All right. So you and I are going to be at Cudnets on Saturday. Where else can people see it for this upcoming week?
Oh man, like I run out of breath doing this now. I'll just say I'm around. I'm around. You can find me at of Oaklawn. Follow me on Twitter. I'll retweet or tweet anything I'm in.
Oh, I have to ask you this. What the hell was up with that? The guy that won the Rebel at like 70-1.
Un Oho?
Yeah.
Dude.
What WTF?
The one-eyed horse got a dream trip up the rail. The pace absolutely fell apart. Like it just fell right into its lap. It actually, if you remember the Kentucky Derby, we're looking at Lee finished second. It was the exact same sort of trip, just beautiful rail trip, pace to run into. It was like looking at Lee and Always Dreaming, I think. Because I hammered that exact because I was all over looking at Lee. I would have made so much money if that horse got up into first, like Un Oho did. But yeah, Un Oho, the one-eyed horse, proves that you don't need Dos Oho. All you need is the Un.
See, the funny thing about horse racing is like we all have strengths when it comes to capping.
Mm-hmm.
My strength is the 5,000 claimer at Golden Gate Fields. That is like where I really come out and play. Like the $5,000 claimer at Golden Gate. That's my wheelhouse right there, man.
That's why you're the go for a Golden Gate. But yeah, I'll own up to it. I that horse Unoho nowhere on my radar for that race. Nowhere.
Oh, dude, like nowhere on my radar either. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Like I said, every Tuesday around this time, Chase and I will be here shooting the shit. Crazy stories. Last week, I almost died by Genuine. This week, Chase is talking about 3-6 Mafia, man. Yeah. So, every week we'll have some tales. Thanks for tuning in. In a month, I'll be back drinking with you guys. Until next week, my friends.